Hello, class. Today we will complete talking about the civilization and how did people created villages, cities, and extended to different countries. Okay, in the last class we learned about the villages, how they appeared because of the farming, the settling down. We said people in the past used to move from one place to another, looking for food, looking for better places, but then they learned how to grow food from the seeds, and then they learned also how to raise animals and instead of hunting them, and they created villages for farming and a lot of villages. Okay, now today we will complete to know how cities appeared. As population grew, now we became bigger and bigger. Villages are too small now for us. Some villages expanded into cities. So instead of a small village that has, let's say, 100 people or 200 or less, now we have cities that could contain thousands of people. These cities rose independently. It means they appeared independently by themselves, not following a certain country, where in the valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Now, what are the Tigris and Euphrates river? You can see them here on the map. This is the Euphrates, and this is the Tigris. What we call it in Arabic, Dijla wal Fuyat. These two rivers, they pass through Iraq and I guess a little bit of Syria. So we have the Tigris, which is Dijla, and Euphrates, which is Al Fuyat. Okay, so the first, let's say, cities that rose, it was beside these two rivers because rivers usually they're fertile. You can plant a lot of seeds and plants, crops. It could help you to live better life. The river's water is sweet, so you can drink also from the river. A lot of things you can do. So they started to build houses and make cities next to the Tigris and Euphrates. Okay, the Yellow River. Now we're gonna see the Yellow River. It's in China and the Indus Valley. Indus Valley is in India. So as we can see, where are the first cities appeared, or where did the first cities appear? They appeared in four places: the valleys of Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Yellow River, number two, number three, Indus Valley, and we have number four, Egypt, which is ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, pyramids, all the ancient Egyptian culture. So ancient urban civilization, urban civilization means متحضرة or new, modern. Okay, ancient urban civilizations of Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, and China were the first ancient civilizations in human history. So, if I ask you what were the first ancient civilizations in human history, we have four. The first one, Egypt. The second one, Mesopotamia, which is, we call it the land between the rivers. Okay, two rivers, which are Tigris and Euphrates. The third one, India, which is here, Indus Valley. And the third one, China, beside the Yellow River. And we have, of course, other civilizations. We're going to see it in the next one. Here's the ancient civilization. We have first ancient Egypt, ancient China, which a part of it is the Great Wall of China. Here's the Yellow River. You can see why they call it yellow. Okay. Here we have the Indus Valley civilization in India. Okay, so the first four civilizations appeared in Egypt, China, India, and between the two rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. Now, later on, okay, now they started the cities. They have a lot of plants. They have animals to raise. People started to trade. What does it mean, trade? To exchange things between each other. Why? Because they used to exchange the extra food. I have a lot of vegetables, I have a lot of fruit, but I need sheep, I need chickens. So I start to exchange, okay? Why? Because money was not used yet. There was no money in the ancient time. They didn't have paper or even metal money. They were counting on trading. I have rice, you have meat, so let's trade. I have sugar, you have salt, let's trade. Okay, so they started to exchange because they started to have extra food of the same supply or the same, let's say, kind or type. So they had to exchange for the supplies they needed. I need something I don't have, so I need to exchange. As money was not used, I can't just go to the market and give money and get what I want. No, I have to trade of something that I already have. The trade, sorry, the trade was carried out in a process called bartering, in which people exchange goods or services for other goods or services. As you can see here, the barter exchange. I have books, you have bicycle, I have shoes, you have some type of food. Here he has orange, she has, I think, mango or Play-Doh. They have to switch. Give me a bag, I'll give you a pair of shoes. Give me some fruit, I'll give you chicken. This is, we call it barter system, which is here bartering, which means exchange goods or services sometimes. It means like I would help you plant the land in exchange to help me teaching my kids, for example. Or I'll carry your things in exchange that you clean my house. Okay? So this is called barter system, which is, or which, let's say, depends on exchanging services, exchanging goods. Nowadays we do it, especially you little children, when you like something with someone else, you tell them, I will give you my toy if you give me yours. I like your car and you like my football, for example. So I'll give you my football and you give me your car. This is, we call it barter system, that we exchange things instead of paying for them or buying them with money. Now, what do we mean by the word civilization? The historians define the word civilization as a highly organized, very organized society, a society with good organization. How do we know it is organized? It has advanced knowledge. So we can call this place, or it has a good civilization if people cannot read, cannot write, they know nothing except selling, buying, raising animals. This is not a good civilization. So you should have advanced knowledge, that you know about history, about geography, you know more about languages, other countries. Okay, and also we have advanced knowledge of trade. What's the trade? As we said, the in the past, of course, was by exchanging. Nowadays, the trade means tijara. You bring goods, you sell them to the market, you put them out there for people to buy. We have also good government, which is al-hukuma. You have a good government that rules the place. You have arts, people who appreciate art, who sometimes sing, dance, draw, different types of arts. Science, you have advanced science, that you know more about space, stars, all different types of science, and often time written language. So also about the time written language means the language that people use in that time. So you know more about the language that people are using in your time. It means you have a good civilization. So again, after historians studied history and all different civilization, how did they define a civilization? Ancient Egypt was a civilization. China is an ancient civilization. How did they make it a civilization? Why did they call this region civilization, not others? Because they have highly organized society that marked by advanced knowledge of trade, advanced government, art, science, and often the time written language. They know about the language that is used in the time being. Now, here, as you can see, about the civilization of China, civilization of the Rome, here, ancient Egypt. And of course, the civilization is marked with different things. Now, we will talk about it. Each civilization has its own identity, culture, and religion. Now, when historians started to study about ancient Egypt, about China in the past, about India, they learned that they have their own identity. You can tell they're talking now about Egypt. You can tell they're talking about China. How? Now we will see. Culture also. They have their own language, their own traditions, and they have their own religion. Ancient Egypt, for example, they used to have gods and goddesses from stones, and they have their names. The same for the ancient Greek. They also have their own gods, their own religion. A civilization is compiled of eight features. So we must have or find in each civilization eight features. What are these? First, you must have cities. To call this place civilization, it must contain cities. Well organized government. I have someone to rule the place, a governor, a king, wherever whether you call him, he must be the government. Complex religions. Complex religions means mix of religion, not only one religion, different religions. Specialization. It means you have a teacher, you have a doctor, you have not one person does everything. No, you have a specialized person for each job. Social classes, it means like we have the high class, the middle class, the low class. Usually they are poor, they don't get educated. Middle class, they have good money, they get educated. High class, usually the nobility, people with a lot of money. We have public works, work for everyone, writings, art, and architecture. Architecture means فن المعمار, which is distinguish a civilization from another. When you take a look at it, you know which civilization it represents. This is we call it architecture. You can see it here. Sorry. This architecture, for example, from China, once you look at it, you know. Here, from the time that some people lived in Petra and they made this. Here, when Muslims were in Spain, also here. Here, directly when you see it, you know they're talking about the Greek culture. So, all these things, we call them architecture. It identifies the civilization, it tells me more about the people who lived in this place. Each civilization also has certain ruins that are considered material contributions made by it. So each civilization, each, let's say, group of people lived in this place and created civilization, they have certain ruins. Ruins means athar. Like now, how do we know about the Rome that lived here in the Romans, sorry, that lived here in Jordan? How do we know about the Greek that lived in Syria, for example? Because of their ruins. They left athar that could tell about them. That are considered, what do they call them? Material contributions made by the civilization. Contributions means like something added or put by them. As you can see here, we have different contributions. Here, the pyramids is a contribution of ancient Egypt. We have different, of course, buildings like Pisa Tower. We have, for example, Taj Mahal in India. All these we call them contributions to tell about the civilization that lived in that place. I will go now to the book to show you the pages that I was explaining. Okay, so we said as the population grew, villages became cities. The cities rose independently in the valleys. Where did they rose? In the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, Yellow River and the Indus Valley. And we said Tigris and Euphrates were called the land between the two rivers, called المتحضرين, okay, of Egypt. Mesopotamia, India, and China were the first ancient civilization in the human history. So we have four first ancient civilizations that people knew about: Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, and China. These four, okay? And we said Mesopotamia means the land between the two rivers, okay? Later on, we said when the population has grown, people started to trade between each other. Oh, I have a lot of food, you have a lot of shoes, the other one has a lot of clothes. They started to exchange because they didn't use money. And this trade was carried out. Carried out means done in a process called bartering. The bartering we said to exchange, people exchange goods or services for others that they need. Okay, we said the word civilization. From it comes from an old Latin word which means someone who lives in a city. But civilization means more than that. What did they define it, historians? Historians define civilization as highly organized society. How do we know it's a highly organized society? It's marked by advanced knowledge of a trade, government, art, science, and often the time written language. So they know also the time written language. Now, each civilization has its own identity. This is the last paragraph. Has its own identity, culture, and religion. A civilization, which is الحضارة. We could talk about the الحضارة الإسلامية. We could talk about the الحضارة الرومانية. It's called a civilization. It's compiled of 8 features. It has, or you can find in it, um, 8 features. What are these? Cities, well-organized government, complex religions, job specialization, social classes, public works, writings, and art, architecture, architecture, sorry, architecture. So when you have architecture, special architecture, you could tell which people lived in that place. Each civilization has certain ruins we said al-athar, that are considered material contributions made by it. They consider them contributions, as something added by them. And here we have the following illustrations. Illustrations means pictures, show some of these contributions from ancient civilizations. You can see here in Petra, from ancient civilization, people who lived here before us, the pyramids from the pharaohs, the ancient Egyptians, ancient Rome's Colosseum, you can see it here, the Hanging Gardens. I think this comes from Tigris and Euphrates. Ancient Greeks or ancient Greece's temple, which is here. This is the Great Wall of China. It's very long. You can read about it and see it's so beautiful. Taj Mahal in India, as we just mentioned. Now, this is the end of our unit and the end of the social. We're not going to take anything more. The rest will be just revision to make sure that you understood the whole lesson, the whole unit, sorry, which is about history. That's it for today. Have a wonderful day.